friend sent me a news article last week with the title, "Californians are turning this laid-back city into a playground for the rich." My first thought was another article about Americans moving to Portugal. But when I clicked to read more, I was surprised to find that this article was about the astonishing transformation of Austin, my hometown in Texas. The caption reads, "Refugees from Silicon Valley, Hollywood, and New York." I was immediately distracted by the word refugees. For 25 years, I've been working as an immigration lawyer, helping people from all over the world live and work in the United States. I've worked with refugees, and their reasons for leaving home are very specific. Refugees are people who fled war, violence, or persecution and crossed an international border to find safety in another country. People move for different reasons, everything from fleeing trauma to seeking work or education to reuniting with family to pursuing a dream. My clients are highly talented scientists and entrepreneurs and artists, as well as people seeking humanitarian refuge. For so many people, moving is not a choice, it's a necessity. On a personal level, I'm the granddaughter of a refugee. My grandfather, Papa George, traveled by boat from Europe to the United States with his mom and sister. The boat was packed with Russian Jewish refugees. 10 years earlier, his dad, Isaac, had left Russia seeking a safe home, freedom, and opportunity. Over 2.5 million Jews fled religious persecution in Russia and Eastern Europe between 1880 and the 1920s. All of my ancestors, they were refugees. And when they landed in New York, they had the opportunity to redefine themselves. Isaac was a tailor by trade. 10 years of hard work, saving money, and laying a foundation to support his family, and finally they would be reunited. I always wonder what my grandfather, as a little boy, was wondering as he sailed across the Atlantic, leaving everything familiar behind. He never went back. None of them did. 100 years later, exactly, I'm an immigrant in Portugal. I'm not a refugee. I chose to move, and it's safe for me to go back. My own quality of life was a consideration, but I also don't want to do harm to anyone else's quality of life. If anything, I always try to do what I can to improve life for the people around me. Articles about people from California and New York moving to Portugal and to my hometown of Austin, Texas, cut to the heart of what I want to talk about today. Immigration is not the problem. The central issue in both of these stories is the disparity of wealth between newcomers and locals. Economic inequality exists between different countries, and it exists between people who live in the same country. Austin is facing the same issues that Portugal is facing due to the influx of newcomers who have more spending power than the average local. People who have lived in Austin for generations are having to move out of the city. International migration is not the problem, but very real problems do exist. Economic inequality is one. Natural disasters like earthquakes and famine and flood, war and persecution, financial crises, the absence of jobs, the absence of workers to fill jobs. These are problems that are inherently harmful, problems that would be beneficial to completely eliminate. And these problems contribute to the movement of people within countries and across international borders. Portugal is a great example. The flow of immigrants to Portugal, especially people like me from outside of Europe, is a new phenomenon. Throughout history, Portugal has been a country of emigration, people leaving. Very real problems cause people to leave, like the disparity of wealth between Portugal and other countries in Europe, as well as the gap between the rich and the poor within Portugal. After the 2011 sovereign debt crisis, the government encouraged emigration as a solution to high unemployment and low wages. Portuguese people living outside of Portugal could find work and send money home. In recent years, the government has encouraged immigration as a solution to the financial crisis, using immigration policy as a tool for economic development. A special resident visa allows people like me to live in Portugal if the source of my income is outside of Portugal. I'm required to pay taxes and spend at least 8 months out of the year living inside the country, which contributes to the local economy and makes me feel invested in Portugal. This is my home. So, you can see international migration can be a solution to problems that exist. And immigration is not inherently harmful. It's a solution for people like my Papa George and my ancestors and so many of my clients, and maybe you or someone you know. It's also a solution for countries. And immigration is a challenge. To be done successfully, it requires effort and the ability to adapt. There's a balance between the benefit that immigrants bring to a country, the burden felt by individual citizens, and the cost of overly limiting immigration. The weight is always shifting. In Portugal's case, so many workers leaving the country caused new problems to emerge, like the demand for domestic labor, especially considering the flow of immigrants into the country. The flow of immigrants into the country and their money contributes to economic development, and it creates a demand for housing, which causes prices to rise, much like we're seeing in my hometown in the United States. But unlike the United States, Portugal's immigration policy is driven by the needs of the Portuguese people while remaining committed to the country's core values, primarily the absolute guarantee of human dignity. Also, unlike the United States, where the government has failed to implement any significant solutions in over 30 years, which is longer than I've practiced immigration law, the Portuguese government is trying. This willingness to experiment and try new, innovative approaches to problems that exist instead of staying stuck is something to be proud of. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just last month, the government announced the end of the Golden Visa, a program that allows wealthy foreigners to invest money in the wealthy foreigners to invest money in Portugal without having to live in Portugal. That program served its purpose of attracting foreign investment, but it also contributed to a housing crisis. Time to change. This is what it looks like when a country's immigration policy is driven by the needs of the people. Countries around the world could learn a lot from Portugal's example. Not only the government's efforts to adapt and confront new issues as they arise, but the people too. And I really hope this doesn't change. One of the things that I love most about Portugal is the relationship-oriented culture, the way that people value each other. Everyone I meet in Portugal is kind and friendly and helpful, and other foreigners agree, from my Bangladeshi taxi driver who's been a resident for years to a friend originally from Thailand who has the same residence visa, to visitors from Pakistan and Ecuador, and an American former refugee from the Congo. As an immigrant, and even as a visitor, it makes a world of difference to be treated this way, and it truly feels like this way of being in relationship with each other is the social norm. As an immigration lawyer, I understand how immigration can challenge social norms, and not always how we expect. Consider this. The way we think about people impacts the way that we act towards people. We recreate and reinforce our own culture every day through our thoughts and our actions. Perspective is critical. The way that we think about people is critical. Immigration is a challenge, but immigrants aren't the problem. Immigrants are actually a solution to very real problems that exist. We either continue to treat everyone with kindness and goodwill, building bridges, even drawing newcomers into the circle to create greater social cohesion, or we create separation and distance. we're far more likely to succeed in creating the kind of communities where we want to live when we remain committed to our own core values, to valuing each other. So let's continue to hold governments accountable for solutions to the very real problems that exist and impact us all. And remember that immigration can be a win for everyone when we value each other. Obrigada.